All right. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Here I am today with Elysse from Elysse Speaks. In order to be all prepared for this interview, I was watching videos and things like that, and I rewatched the Siebel interview. And at the beginning of the interview, he goes, "Let me ask you, how do you say your name?" You know,
Oh gosh, yeah, no. Yeah, I think you've got it right for a long time. That was a long
Well,
time
yeah,
ago.
exactly. Like I had it right for the longest time, but then I watched that video, then like I've been saying to myself, "Shh,
Ellis,
I hope I'm
Ellis.
going to get it right, like when the
No.
moment of truth comes."
I always just tell people it's like Feliz, like from Feliz Navidad, but just take it like that. And they're just like, oh, very good.
Well, I'm very happy to have you with me today. I hope you're ready
Yeah,
to be
happy to
grilled
be
about
here.
all things language learning.
Yeah, for sure. Been pondering it for as long as I could think.
All right, so I guess I just wanted to start off with the first question. I feel like some people don't necessarily need introductions, but I don't know. Why don't you just
Yeah, for those
give
who
one of
don't
yourself just in case?
know. Okay, so yeah, I'm Elysse DaVega. Speaks is not my last name, contrary to much popular belief. I get a lot of comments like, "Oh, is that your actual last name?" I was like, "No, not really." I'm from the United States, obviously from the South, Florida particularly. And during the daytime, I'm a student in digital media production and journalism, but I like to study languages, and that's like a freak hobby of mine that I've kept up for about 6 years, more or less.
And
So,
I read something about you that you're sometimes family disappointment as well. This is
uh,
true?
my Twitter bio, don't take my Twitter bio too far, but yeah, sure. Being the, being the youngest in the family is definitely a big, weight.
Well, I can relate. I was that for a long time, but not anymore. I'm long
Yeah,
past those days.
glad that you were able to move past that. But yeah, so talking about languages, just to put it out there, because I guess that is more specific. So it's obviously English, then I would guess Spanish, Portuguese, French, German, American Sign Language, and like this much Chinese. I know I'm like, people never know what to put on their list of like languages that they speak, but I
Mhm.
think ones that I know I'm going to be dedicated to in the future, I'll put those on my list.
Oh, nice. I never thought that anyone would think that your last name would actually be Speaks, but sometimes people get lucky with their names. Like, have you ever heard of the runner uh, Usain Bolt?
Yeah, literally. That was like, man. And that was his like real born name.
Can you imagine that? Like being the fastest person ever and having your last name be Bolt? That would
Literally.
be like your case. Like, my name's Elysse Speaks, and I just speak all these languages.
Yeah, it would suck if I never spoke a word. But yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask you, I think I have an idea, but I want to confirm it. Like, how did you get thrown into this whole world of language learning?
Yeah, that's a good way to phrase it because I think I wasn't exactly thrown. It was well for like the longest time I only spoke English and Spanish. That was up until I was like 14, and then I got to high school and they were like, you shouldn't take Spanish just because you already know how to work that or whatever. And I had to take a language for scholarship purposes. So I was like, all right, I'll just take French because that's the closest to it and I can just breeze through it, whatever. And of course, it ended up being easy because there's a lot of cognates and whatever. And then naturally, I kind of just kept going with that. So we also had German classes at school, and I was like, this has been pretty easy. I was like, I should see what German's about. And then, it was just like random things would happen. Like I had a boyfriend with Brazilian family in high school at one point, and then when I got to college, they required a foreign language for the international relations major, which was
Oh,
my major at that time. So it was just like a bunch of things came up that kind of brought all of them into my life. It was like a big snowball. I don't think I was like, I'm going to study a bunch of languages. It's just like, oh, I think
uh,
I have a proclivity for this. I'm going to continue.
no, absolutely. And this is something that I often consider. Nice word, by the way, proclivity. Sometimes, since I'm out of an English speaking environment, I really appreciate these words. Like, oh,
Proclivity.
damn, that's a nice word, actually.
Yeah, I've been trying to use my bigger ones recently.
Well, us English teachers, we gotta pull out some surprises here and there.
For sure.
But that's cool because, before I moved to Mexico City in 2014, like I had these precursor moments that, were kind of like these flashes of, oh, it'd be nice to learn languages. Like, for example, when I was in college, I had one really good friend from Iran, and he literally introduced me to like the whole Iranian community in the city that
Oh.
I studied in. And,
In
they would,
Mexico City or
what?
in Mexico City?
No, this was in Akron, Ohio, where I studied
Oh, okay. I
college.
was like, that was unexpected. I mean, I know Mexico City has everything, but like that in particular, I was like, never heard anything about that.
Yeah, so they would like teach me Farsi and things like that. And I guess, like in the States, everything is your mom, but for them, it's like, don't talk about my sister. So I would ask them like how to say things about people's sisters and just,
It's
you
so
know,
funny.
that was
And it's the
fun.
same thing in Spanish, at least Mexican Spanish too. It's like the abuelas and the moms are just like, do not touch that territory. That's
Like
funny.
I don't know what it was. I mean, I don't know what it's like when you were going to high school, but like when I was in high school, everything was your mom. Like
Yeah, by the time that I skated around high school, we were long done with
that was long
that.
gone.
Uh,
Another funny thing is like I sometimes feel when I watch your videos or listen to you, I'm like, oh, so that's like how 20-year-old girls
That's how the
speak
kids
English.
are. Yeah, I feel like I'm a kid sometimes still, but I'm literally like when I see kids on TikTok. Okay, we're getting off topic, but whatever. When I see kids on TikTok like 16, 15, I'm like, gosh, when did I stop being 15 and 16? Like I just got thrown into life. But here we are. I'm happy
Right.
with being alive at 20.
It's living is good for us. Oh, so you have a mom that speaks some languages as well, and you talk about proclivity. And, I've had like these moments that made me realize, oh, I love languages, but then I think that my dad also really loved languages, and, he studied various, and, he was from
Mhm.
Mexico, spoke English perfectly, had studied Italian at some point, French apparently, he told me, well, was his
Mm.
favorite language. He stayed in France. Do you ever like feel that it's almost kind of like, I don't know, I feel like as much of it's like interest that there's something in me that makes it like that much more. Have you ever thought that?
Yeah. Yeah, because you have like parents that have two different native languages, so of course that's like literally part of you. I think for me, I don't know, I don't want to kind of feed into the idea that, language learning, I guess a good ability for it has to be born into you or something like that. Because a lot of people think like, oh, I just can't do it. Like you just have to be born talented. And I don't think that I was born with any type of particular talent. I think I was just like exposed from like a really early time because I remember like on Saturdays when it was like, my mom was cleaning the kitchen or whatever. Just sometimes on Sundays or the weekends, she would be playing like, the Spanish radio on the like old ass General Electric alarm clock radio thing that we used to have. And
Nice.
like, and then one of my sisters, Caroline, she had like a Shakira CD that she would play all the time. And so like, when I was a kid, I was definitely surrounded by it, and I would brag to all my friends like, my mom speaks languages. Yours doesn't. Like I don't myself, but my mom does. So click on that.
Just
But
showing off big time. Oh, by
yeah,
the way.
yeah. So I think it's just that I was exposed to it really early, and it gave me like a curiosity for it, and you know, yeah, just
Cool.
all that.
And so your best language, foreign language, is Spanish, correct? Like, is there anything that comes closer? That's clearly like the dominant one.
Go on, yeah. And I know because I don't ever. I guess sometimes like when I haven't spoken it for a while, I'll just be like maybe a little stuttery, but that happens with
Hmm.
English sometimes. And there are periods where I'll be speaking like Spanish a lot more than English, like throughout my day, whether it's like from classes, because I take like Spanish classes at school, or
Hmm.
whatever the reason is, and then I'll go back to English and I'll be like, just disoriented. So I don't know, but most of the time I can go back to Spanish and it's just like right back where I left off, and there's not really like a forgetting curve anymore.
Uh-huh.
Because it's been such a long time that I've been speaking it, so
Wow.
definitely it's always just there, ready to go.
Right. And I know you speak it well because, well, not that I'm like the authority or master, but
Totally are.
no, I think you speak so well. And I wanted to ask you that, you speak this language at an advanced level. So, you know, like, what do you do to keep studying this language, or how do you think you say still so motivated? Is it a matter
Mhm.
of discipline or just pure love of language that like, because, you'd sometimes talk about, oh, here's like a word that you learn at, I don't know, C1, C2 or something like that.
Mhm.
Like, how do you go about
Yeah,
that
this
whole
is like
thing?
at a like C2 kind of like advanced level. It's I think at this point for me it's not so much like I need to keep studying it in a traditional way. Like I think someone asked me this on my 2021 like language goals video saying like why like what about Spanish? Like that's just not a part of this year at all. And I just said like I don't really need to study it in that traditional way anymore because like I read books in Spanish, I write in Spanish, I also want to incorporate that into like my future career, like working in journalism and things like that. So it's kind of just, I don't know, it's like so integrated into what I want to do in the future and stuff that I do in my everyday life, like talking to friends or whatever it is that I just don't need to, I guess, do flashcards and, do all the traditional things I guess language learners do, like workbooks. Or I don't know what the kids are doing nowadays, but like it's just like I just consume everything in the same way that a native would, I
uh,
think. So yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I never lose motivation with Spanish just because it never leaves me alone.
it
I don't
never
think.
leaves you alone. That's an interesting way to be
like
to have a language in your life. It just never leaves me alone.
like
I
there's
can't get.
always a friend. There's like a movie I have to watch. There's like I take classes. There's books. Everything. There's just always like a way for it to creep back in. So if I don't go looking for it, it'll come looking for me.
Elysse, where you been, girl? I'm looking for you.
For sure. But yeah, that's why I feel like a really special bond with it. I
Oh,
feel the
that's
same.
awesome. And like the thing that I really love about this language is just like that diversity, because there's so many countries that speak it. Every little country has their own, variants, their own style.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know that you kind of focus on a specific kind that was the Mexican style, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are there some other ones that you really particularly like?
Yeah, if we're basing on taking into consideration like vocabulary, like expressions and the sound, I guess I really do like Venezuelan to
Uh-huh.
the luck of your girlfriend. Who are
Ex-girlfriend, by the way.
oh sorry to bring that up. Oh, geez Louise. If we're good, well, I do still like the Venezuelan dialect. I'm not gonna have a vendetta against it. Argentinian, just because that's a classic. And something, okay, it's my favorite because I can't barely understand it at all, like Dominican.
Oh,
So whenever I watch Dominican stuff, I'm always just like, I got the basic gist. And then everybody else in the Spanish speaking world is just like, same. Like, we didn't get that either. And I'm just like, okay, validation. So
yeah.
one day, I'll be able to talk like a
That's
Dominican.
one accent. That's one accent I haven't heard that much of. The only reason I know a bit of that accent, or like what it sounds like, or some of its words, is because there's like an American guy who lives in Florida actually, and he makes videos to basically promote the Spanish language, why people should learn and all that, inspire them. And he's like chosen the Dominican accent. He's like really good. So
Wow. Yeah, dude. If you go for a specific dialect, people that are from that place will like be so flattered that they just like help you and they just like, oh, let's talk and whatever. I'll teach you all the slangs because people are so proud of like, wherever they come from. And so that's why if you pick a dialect, people, they're just super into it. But yeah, Caribbean is definitely a little intimidating. So Cuba, Dominican Republic, of course, Puerto Rico, they were like the triangle of, I guess, the hardest dialects, I feel like.
yeah, I mean, I do like the Argentinian one. It just has a nice flair. It's just like its own thing. It's like, oh wow, I've got a
Mm.
good buddy from there, and when we speak one on one, I can manage because he doesn't try to pull out all the Argentina words on me. And but I
Yeah, but
spent
the
Christmas.
voceo, I can't do
Uh-huh.
the voceo.
I like, yeah, like the whole sos, vos. I don't know. I kind of like that because I like a lot of Argentinian rock, and they use this kind
Mhm.
of thing like
Sort of
evos, and I'm like,
thing.
oh, that's pretty cool. I
Yeah,
like that.
sometimes when I'm bored, I'll just use voice. I'm just like, Benny or something. Just 'cause it just
Uh,
sounds funny to me. I'm just like, that's so cute. But
yeah, and they have some like really interesting kind of like stresses sometimes that you just don't hear with some other
I feel
dialects.
like it's the immigrant influence among a lot of other things, but they got a really nice accent too. Basically,
Yeah.
Kennedy Flynn.
Are there many Argentinians in Florida?
No, I think Florida's mostly, I don't want to say, but I think Florida's mostly concentrated with like Cubans, of course, because we're literally 90 miles from them at the tip of Key West.
Venezuelans, I heard.
Venezuelans, I would say a decent amount of like Puerto Ricans. And those are, I think, like the three biggest. Yeah, of course, Venezuela because of the crisis, Cuba because of
Mm.
the proximity, and Puerto Rico also because of proximity. So I feel like those are the biggest populations, yeah.
I know you talked about this before, and it's funny because I only people like I think in the Spanish speaking world know this whole issue about the whole American versus United States thing. And
Mhm.
it's kind of funny because like I understand where they're coming from, but at the same time it's like from the American perspective, it's like no one told like anyone that that's actually a thing, you know?
Yeah, and you don't think about it when you're growing up with like a monolingual English speaker as well. So now, of course, I say US American, and I'm trying to implement that like with my US American friends instead of just like with foreigners. Because I always do that with foreigners just to, you know, overtly, not
Right.
make that mistake because I don't want to offend anybody. And I do it with my students, of course, because I don't want them to pick up anything bad from me. And then now I have to get into the habit of saying that to like family and friends and stuff because I feel like it is really important to make that distinction. You
Yeah,
know?
it is. It is.
Yeah.
And I mean, I generally speak and say it, but although you can hear people from here saying, "Oh, Americano," but maybe it's like a one of those things like when someone from there says it's like, "Oh, wait, chill, bro."
Yeah, I don't know. It's like people can say whatever they want, but it's like I guess it's kind of like how I feel a type of way where men call women a B word, but then we
Mhm.
between girls, like we call each other that all the time. So it's kind of like I don't want to say it myself, but if other people
Uh-huh.
say it, it's just like use whatever term you want to describe us. Even gringos, if you want to, I'm fine with that. But yeah, but it was just an interesting like because when I first got introduced to that topic, it was like okay, so should it be like USian? Should it be United Station? Should it be
United Statesians, I always thought in my head.
yeah, and so I just say US American because that makes a sense. United States American.
And when your friends from there in the States hear you say that, they're like, "What?"
They don't really bat an eye, actually. I think I talk so fast that it kind of just goes over
It
their
just blurs
head.
in.
Yeah, it just plays right in. But that's a good topic, yeah.
So you said that you were not a writing or a reading person, but how do you manage that if you're going to learn languages? How do you get around that whole deal?
Mhm. The only language that I've been like having to read and write in is Spanish because I have a Spanish minor and like, last semester I did like a 10-page, 7-week research paper on like the Cuban matriarchy during the what's it called, revolution and stuff. So I
Oh.
was reading a lot of academic articles and it just like blows me, dude. I hate doing reading. Even like I've been trying to read more in English too, just like everywhere. But
For sure.
yeah, I think it's just because I have some attention problems or something. But it
Hmm.
is important if you want to get like a full professional, ability in any language. You have to find different ways to work that in, whether it's like academic essays or journal writing or translating songs and just finding ways to express yourself. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not like the most traditional like reader like in my normal life, but I'm really trying to kind of implement it, and I even want to do it more so in English. I do it as a part of my language learning, but I would like to
Yeah,
do it a little more in English because there's lots of good
the
things to read
intellectual. Yeah, I have
as
so
well.
many books. Oh, there's the Modelo. Don't look at it. But I have like a full shelf of books over there, and I'm trying to like stop buying more. But there's just so much that I want to read.
For sure. For sure. And I know not so long ago you started basically your traveling, starting traveling in general. Last year, I haven't traveled that much, only through the States and to Mexico, through
Close enough.
Mexico. But last year was supposed to be like my year to go out and travel. I was supposed to go to Russia. Obviously, that didn't happen. And then this year I was going to travel through Europe and all that.
Glad to hear
And so I hope things work out this year.
it.
Hope, at least next year, but we'll see. Um, how many of the countries that you've been to, or you spoke the language versus not speaking the language?
Um, Technically, all of them I've spoken the language because I've been. So yeah, let me start out with that. So I've been to Portugal, Spain, Mexico, France for 4 hours, but I still count it because I spoke French while I was there.
Nice.
I had a bus connection. Morocco and Germany. So Morocco, I don't speak like Darija or any type of Arabic, but I speak French, and like a lot of people speak French there. And depending on the city, a lot of people speak Spanish there. So I technically spoke the language wherever I went.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was actually going to be a first for me too in 2020 to go to China and visit my sister, where I barely can introduce myself in Chinese. So, but we'll see when I get that experience being completely linguistically helpless. And then I have to whip out my English, embarrassingly. Be
But don't
that
feel so
person.
bad about that. I mean, you can't learn every language, right?
I'm just like, hey, I need to speak English, but I promise I speak like 5 languages. I'm not
I'm
just
not. I'm not one.
I'm not one of those. Like, I promise. God. But
Uh,
I hope to get to China soon, or to get like anywhere, you know?
right.
COVID permits, vaccine permits.
And I wanted to know about that. For example, I know you have some family that live in China, and I wanted to know, were you more so interested in learning Chinese because you knew you were going to go there, or was it, how much of it was language interest versus, practical?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I think it was mostly family interests, and when you love your family, I guess that's like a really big motivator. And I have nieces that speak Chinese better than English, so that was just like, I don't want to be that aunt, that doesn't make them feel like the culture is like valued in the family, or I don't know, because
mhm.
obviously, um, you know, no one really in my family speaks it except for their mom, my sister. So I guess it was just like, you know, I don't ever think I'll be like completely fluent in it. I don't think, or that seems very, very far ahead if that ever does happen. But yeah, I really don't see any type of like practical use in it for my everyday, I think.
Okay. And how long did you get in your studies before just deciding to put it to like?
The full, I think maybe like 2.5 months, because I said last year I was like, I'm gonna study it from January to March, and then after COVID happened, I definitely lost the motivation because I thought mid-February was when I was supposed to go to China, and I was like, okay, so then after that I'll be smooth sailing. I'll get to like practice whatever I learned and speak it and like absorb some stuff while I'm there. So then I was just kind of left with like my books and whatever resources I was using after that, and I was like, well, now I'm just like, it was just kind of depressing to learn it and study it. So I dropped off, and then I went to German. I was like,
Oh
oh, wait,
no.
German. It's been so long.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Oh, oh shoot.
it happens.
Linguistically speaking, I'm not so interested in Portuguese, but like as a country and as a people, like I would really be, down. So
For
I want
Brazil or Portugal?
oh,
Or
excuse me,
Angola?
Brazil, Brazil,
You're
Brazil,
like
Brazil.
the country. Sorry, Portugal. Sorry, Angola.
Yeah, you
Sorry.
kind of like forgotten about. I mean,
We're
Brazil
sorry.
has just overtaken you guys as like the
In
cool
a lot of
Portuguese speaking
things.
place.
Yeah, in a lot of things. In population, obviously, and like, world influence, I feel like they're definitely, doing a lot more. So they've become the default. But it's good that you have that interest because it really is such an interesting like region culturally, of course, linguistically, politically. I got some
Mm,
interesting stuff always happening there with their
for sure.
president. Um,
Bolsonaro.
oh yeah, Pocket Naro, they call him. But
Trump
yeah.
Jr.
So if anybody's watching this and then want to speak Portuguese, you should definitely get into it.
Yeah, I want to do like a 3, 6 months before going, whenever I go, and just study that language and just see how much I can do because,
I'm surprised. Yeah, I feel like the fluency I got in Portuguese was very like expedited by just the grammar basically being like 80% there. The big like the thick of the work is in transferring and learning different vocabulary because you think everything's going to be the same, but it's just like the cognates, like tradición, tradição. So it's like you have those things, but then like everyday random objects. It's like I feel hopelessly lost. So yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it would take some time just to study all the things that you think you know that you really don't know, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Would you be interested just to like go to a random country, like do that and study its language before and just go? Would you have one in
Mhm.
mind that's like just kind of random but kind of interesting for you at the
Yeah,
same
God.
time?
How much time do I get before going?
Let's say 3 months.
3 months, okay. Just like Benny Lewis said. No, I'm kidding. Let's think. I think a region that is like always kind of like, gosh, I don't. Does it have to be one that I've never studied before?
Ideally.
Yes. Okay, Georgian. I would definitely go to Georgia. I want to dabble in it next month, but I've never studied it, so I can say that. It's just like really interesting, like Eurasian culture to me, and I've heard the language and it sounds really interesting, so would definitely be down for that. Or Turkey.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you're going to do that language to some extent this year. Where did your interest come for that? Was it just like because it's so foreign? I mean, was it had to do with did it have to do with the writing
I
or
think it was mostly the writing. It came completely out of nowhere. At least with Turkish, like the other Eurasian language I'm interested in. I had like students that spoke Turkish, and I've been to Germany where there's a giant Turkish population, and I heard it all over the streets. But with Georgian, I think maybe the closest link is like one of my sister's best friends, Georgian, but I've never even spoken to her. Like,
goldfishes?
yeah, her goldfish is among the cat knows Georgian. But
Uh,
sometimes you just get a random one like that. You're like, what's up with you? Hmm.
I like to think that if, when the time comes for me to go to Russia and for some reason my visa gets just like rejected, I'm just going to go to Georgia because I don't know if you know, not Georgia, Turkey. Because I don't know if you know, like Russians love Turkey. They vacation there, they chill there. They
Really?
are obsessed with
I didn't know
Turkey.
that at all. Why are
No,
you saying like that? Turkey? Turkey?
yeah.
Wait, is it Turkey or Turkey?
I mean, what?
Is that an Ohio thing? Wait, hold on.
Probably. I mean,
Hold on. Okay, yeah, Turkey.
I
I didn't know they were
mean,
obsessed with Turkey.
everything is just like that for me. I never thought about it. But damn, calling me out.
It's like, wait, I thought you just mispronounced it once, but it's like three times.
Okay, wait. It's
Wow.
Turkey.
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 Turkey. Okay, well, anyways, I'm learning something new about Ohio.
Whatever. You kind of broke my heart a little bit when you made fun of Buggy. You know,
I hate that one.
you really hurt me. I felt it
That
deep down.
the thing is, I forgot about that, but it like stuck with you. So,
No,
God,
it really
it's
did
funny.
because the funny thing is because like I don't even think that's just like a general Ohio word, but I it's not for people that don't know, I'm talking about like shopping cart.
Yeah, I think you have the store.
But I don't
You
even
said
think a lot of
buggy.
people from Ohio use that. It's just like, you don't
That's
hear your friends
buggy.
really say this word. You hear like your family. And my mom, like her family is kind of comes from like the country and things like that and part
Mm,
of Ohio. And so for me, that word's always like buggy. And
that's a
you
family
just,
word. English, man.
I really felt it. I really felt it when you dissed buggy.
Gosh, man. But I mean, Turkey. That's a great location. Obviously, I never knew that about Russians. Though usually, I thought they would go to like other European countries. Well, at least that's what a lot of my Russian students tell me when we talk about travel.
But I tell you what, though, you can't shame me about what this is called because this is and will always be called pop.
Uh,
Take it or
I was
leave
like,
it.
God, what is he about to say?
This
No,
is
in
called
Tennessee,
pop.
in Tennessee, it's funny because everybody calls everything Coke, even if it's Sprite or like whatever the hell it is. Everything's just like Soda is just Coke.
Serious? No, you mean pop is just Coke.
Oh yeah, sure. Let me translate that back into Westerner.
You know, I heard about that, but I thought it was literally like an urban myth because I'm like, no, they can't call like everything Coke. I mean, what, maybe
You,
Pepsi
you,
Coke?
you thought wrong. You gotta open your mind. Yeah, no, even if it's Pepsi, especially if it's Pepsi, it's gonna be called Coke because nobody has any respect for Pepsi. So, but anyway,
Exactly. Not even in Mexico, like Coke will be like 20 pesos and Pepsi like 9.
oh gosh, or Pepsi. But gosh, we got a little bit off track. What were we talking about? Oh, you said you would go to Turkey as well if that was your mission for 3 months.
No, I'm saying if Russia rejected me, I would just go to
And then
that
back up.
place that is Turkey.
Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I think you'll definitely get in. I don't see why I wouldn't, especially if you speak the language.
hmm So you've described yourself as a traditional language learner.
That's true.
So
Should I expound upon that?
I think you're going to need to because it's like we're in
Yeah.
the language learning community, and that I feel like you say that and people are just like, what?
Yeah. Because I feel like there's a lot of different ways to go about it, and because language learning has become such like a hot thing in the past couple of years, I don't think it's very mainstream yet. But people that spend a lot of time on the internet are, learning about it more and more, and people are deciding like, I want to be a polyglot, and it's no longer just people that have just like collected a bunch of languages throughout their life. I feel like everybody that I've met in the language community just kind of like, oh, they moved to a different country and that's how they got into it, or it's like my case where it just kind of happened over time. Now people are just like, oh, they have like 10 flags in their bio, these are my goals, and it's like, whoa. So because there are like a lot of new people surging into that, I feel like they're fixated on stuff like apps and like flashcard decks and all that stuff. And while I use flashcards, I use Quizlet, I think, I don't like to, I guess, put too many like, I guess, doodads and gadgets, and like I try to keep it as simple as possible. So like I like to listen to music and then translate songs, and I like to chat to people, and I don't know. It's hard to say. I just love
Hmm.
watching movies and just learning by absorption and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't want to put a label on it because, of course, for like new languages like Georgian, I have a book. For Turkish, I have a book just because I want to get into it. But I think by traditional, I meant not so tech oriented like a lot of people.
Mm.
And I don't feel any type of superiority for that. It's just like what works for me because I spend all day on the screen anyway.
What I thought you meant by it, because I know you use some kind of, I don't know, like grammar books, or do you use textbooks at all?
Yeah, for German, just because I think for German you really need a lot of grammar input, but it's just a grammar book. It's not like a general language book.
Mm. Right. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So right now I'm learning Russian, and I know,
Hold on, I think we cut out for a second or
yeah, we
two.
did.
What is going on? Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, I think we're back. You said you were learning Russian and then it cut out, so I didn't.
Okay. So I'm learning Russian, and now I'm really thinking about, okay, how can I start studying this grammar? Because I've just done basically just inputs up until now, and I'm kind of excited in a way. And I know that you had to do this with German. There's 4 cases, right? How
Mhm.
did you go about tackling, let's say, a language that's a bit more grammatically complex or different than from what you're used to, let's say from the Romance languages? What kind of advice can you give about that?
For grammar, yeah, for more grammatically complex, I think that you need people, want to act so hard that they don't need like a book and that they don't need to just like drill it into their heads sometimes. But I think grammar, especially when it's complex grammar and stuff like cases, it needs to be just repeated 1,000 times because, German also has like kind of complex word order. So if you say certain things, like the verb suddenly goes at the end of the sentence. Like if you say certain words that mean because, you'll put that verb at the end. And that didn't really stick to me until I got a lot of speaking exposure.
Mm-hmm.
And, until I started doing drills in books. Like if you just try to flashcard it or just look at tables, like people have told me like, oh, I need to find like a good table for all the endings and all the like, declensions of. I'm like, what is that gonna do for you? Like looking at a chart, like you need to practice it, you need to use it. So I think definitely speaking it and just like writing drills, because when you're writing, that's like a form of producing,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go
Mm-hmm.
back and correct it. That's like, it's deliberately making a mistake and then you remember that. Or when you speak and it sounds wrong, someone corrects you, you deliberately remember that. So you need to like embrace making mistakes on grammar if the grammar is like a little bit more complex than you're used to.
Yeah, I had a brutal 5 minute period of Russian last week when I was talking about concerts, and the word concert just changed so many
Mm,
times, and the teacher's like, "Oh, it's actually this one, this one." I'm like, "Oh no."
yikes. Yeah, in German, like the noun doesn't change too much at all. It'll just be like, maybe in the genitive, it'll get like an es on it. Like
Uh-huh.
the book of my friend, das Buch des Freundes, and then it changes like that or something. But it really, like the actual noun itself doesn't change. It's mostly like the article or the word that comes before it. So I think people learning Russian and like soon to be, or no, yeah, people learning Russian, it must be really hard to weave that into the actual word, because like
Mm,
what word do you learn when you're just learning like the random or like the natural, I guess, infinitive, like
mm-hmm.
nominative form of it,
Exactly.
so you have to, I guess, keep an eye out.
Right. From what I hear, Georgian grammar is pretty
I got no
hardcore.
clue. I'll see it when I crack open this book. I have no clue. That's what I got in the comments too on my language goals for 2021 video. People were like, hope you got your big girl pants on, and I was like, I'm not saying I'll commit to it completely, but I just want to try it out and see what's up.
Um, so, if I think about the kind of like my bloodline or the nationalities that I have, you know, I'm a big mutt. So, you know, but like for example, I'm like a quarter Hungarian. I'm largely French. My dad was from Mexico, but I think that I have kind of like the heritage language taken care of with Spanish. Do
Mhm.
you have like any kind of things like this floating around that you might be interested to study just because of heritage, or you just basically focus on just whatever is interesting to you?
That's a good relevant question. So when people like see my last name, DaVega, they're like, okay, that's like, or most people think it's Brazilian, but then when they find out it's Spanish,
The Vega.
they're like, okay, so then Spanish would be technically my heritage language, I guess, and I already speak it. But DaVega specifically is like a Sephardic last name, and I don't know
Mhm.
if you saw my
I
video about.
did. That's the only reason I really know about this. I got to be honest. So I'm glad I did my research and now I'm caught up to speed. This is sweet.
Yeah, so for anyone who's watching this and didn't know about that, to be a Sephardic Jew is like Jews from Spain. And, there's a lot of different Judaic languages. So there's, of course, Hebrew, there's Yiddish, there's Amharic and stuff, but there's also Ladino, which is like the language of Spanish Jews. And it's kind of largely antiquated, and there's maybe like 200,000 speakers of it today. But the people that do speak it are really like promoting it and like teaching classes through the Sephardic Jewish Brotherhood in America and stuff like that. And so I think I have my eye on it a little bit because it would be really cool. There's a lot of speakers in Turkey because there's a lot of Sephardic Jews in Turkey. And yeah, so I think I do definitely have my eye on that since it's really the only heritage language I would have aside from English, which I'm pretty sure my dad's side is British, and
Hmm.
Spanish, which I already speak. So got them all taken care of.
Exactly. So yeah, I feel like, all right, let me do Russian. I'm not Russian at all. I've got the heritage language covered. I
Do
mean,
something.
hmm
Yeah, actually, I really don't know that much about my dad's side, so it could be anything.
yeah.
What were you about to say, though? Sorry.
Oh, I don't know. You know, um, I have a conversation class online, and I sometimes like I get like a million questions lined up, and I'm like, oh, what was that? Okay, that was a question. Oh, but that wasn't the question that I wanted. Oh, I'm gonna have to go with this
Mm.
question.
Yeah, I think because you take italki lessons as a student, and so do I, but we're also both teachers, so I feel like we get our fair share of conversational practice every week, which
Uh,
is good. I feel like it's made me a better questioner in interviews
Absolutely.
and just better at talking to all kinds of people.
For sure. Like, this is maybe, I don't know, my fifth interview, and well, I'm not going to comment on how I'm doing so far, but in my previous ones, I've actually been really happy, and I'm like, whoa, I didn't know that I was okay or good, or I don't know, but people have given me positive
Yeah.
feedback, and I literally just think it's because I ask questions all day long,
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
you gotta be curious, have good follow-ups, and yeah, because since I study journalism, it's like my worst fear is going up to strangers and being like, "Hi, can I talk to you about abortion?" And they're just like, "Sure." And but it's really easy once you have a rapport with the person. Like we've known each other for a long
Uh,
time, but questioning is it's fun stuff. If it's like an art. People think it's pretty easy, but yeah, it's like a planned conversation, really.
I gotta know, do you have a language learning or language related pet peeve?
Mm, that's why I feel like everybody would say immediately those videos like, "Oh, I learned Spanish in 5 seconds." Those obviously like expedited. That'd be pretty ballsy to say 5 seconds, but those expedited process.
It's basically that.
Really, that's just the first one that comes to mind, obviously. But I don't even flinch at it anymore, just because I'm like, all right, they're gonna get their views, and then like nobody's gonna care anymore. Like that's not gonna have real
That's
impact.
right.
Maybe in terms of something that I do, and then I'll do one that other people do. So maybe something that I do is I think I don't actively go looking for new like practices or resources a lot. Like I kind of just get comfortable with what I'm doing and I don't branch out too often, which eventually causes me to burn out. But then by the time I'm burnt out, I don't even want to look for new stuff because I'm just like, oh, I suck. So, you really got to be a little more, you got to know yourself better and like know like what you need. And I
Mhm.
guess I don't do that too often. And if it was stuff that other people do, or like stuff that I see on the timeline, and I'm just like, that's not gonna work, or I don't know, because it's hard, because people do what they think is right for them. But I think when people get fixated too much on like, I see this a lot in like the community of like Asian language learners, where
Mhm.
they're like, how many characters do I know? Because a lot of those languages are measured like in proficiency based on the tests.
Mhm.
So like HSK 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stuff like that. So people are constantly comparing themselves and like drilling
Oh,
themselves. And I feel like a lot of them don't get enough time to like enjoy it and like not, you know, break themselves down upon that.
I gotcha. One thing that I see, especially on Twitter, and I'm trying to be more like understanding about it. They'll have like, all right, here's my 2021 language goal list, and then they'll have like seven of like the craziest, most difficult languages, and they're like, these are my main focuses for this year. Then they'll have like four just like other languages. I'm
Oh
like,
man.
I'm like, my Spanish is advanced. I can improve,
Hmm.
but like Russian for me is like, if I'm going to learn this language, I'm just going to have to do it. I can't be like
Yeah.
messing around with all these other languages, let alone like one's
Yeah.
even harder.
Yeah, I think you gotta go easy on yourself. Unless you're like really looking to push yourself, I think for an average year, like you never know what's gonna happen. So I would rather, I guess undershoot and then have some extra room to play with something else if I want to, than to overshoot and have a year like I did last year where I didn't get to do half of the language goals that I like had planned.
Well, you
But
made progress. I'm sure you're happy with that.
yeah, no, it worked out.
I'll tell you my number one pet peeve, language we're learning related. It's when my level's not so high in a language to realize when non-native speakers are making mistakes. So, for example, well, what I mean by that is like, okay, let's say I'm A2 Russian. I really don't like to listen to other speakers of Russian who are non-natives. Like if I'm in a conversation class and everyone's like speaking Russian, I'm just like, when they speak, I'm like, I just don't want to listen to anything that they say, because I'm just afraid their mistakes are just going to wash over me
Mhm.
and all that.
Interesting. Because usually I just get like validation from that, I guess. I'm just like, oh, that used to be me, or like, I'm so glad that's not me anymore. But when it's, I feel like a language that's really, really different from your own, you don't, I guess, have that cushion, maybe.
Hmm.
Not sure. But wow.
And
Hats off to you then.
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to listen to people. Well, I don't want to give them to give me their errors. So I'm just like, I really
It's
try not to
contagious,
listen.
maybe a little.
Have you ever had it where people actually just wanted to speak English to you in the countries that you've been to?
Yeah, let me try to think. Or of course it's been like in Morocco when guys were like catcalling my sister all the time. Or they would speak to us in French because they get a lot of French tourism. So they're like, Madame, les Européennes, we're like European, and we're like, we're not European. Um, but I think most of the time when people see that I speak their language in like my travel experience, they've been, Spanish people and French people, they expect you to speak it when you get there. German people, they usually want to speak English because they're so proud of their perfect English. Because like Germans, they speak amazing English. Mexicans, they really love when you speak Spanish to them too, especially if you speak Mexican Spanish. So
Hmm.
no, I feel like most of it comes from like internet chats, or I'll respond to someone in their language and they respond to me in English. So then I'll
Um,
just go to English if they want to. But yeah, I've had a lot of luck in my travels
oh, nice.
because if you have a good accent, maybe people won't even pick up you're from the United States. They're just like, I don't know
Mm,
what this girl's native language is.
right, exactly. And I think that's like a sign of success in language learning when, you may not sound like a native, but you have now gotten rid of like these attributes of of your native language, and they now
Mm-hmm.
don't know where you were. One time someone a couple of years ago told me, "You're from Holland, right?" I'm like, "Holland? Damn, man. The Dutch speak awesome, like they're awesome at languages." I mean, for me that was like a big compliment.
To be associated with them. Yeah, I get like people swipe up on my stories on Instagram all the time, like, what's your native language? Because I upload stories speaking in Spanish a lot. I'll upload stories speaking in Portuguese. So it's just I integrate that into my social media and I don't put English subtitles or something. They'll just be like, wait, is that your native or is this your native? Like I like the mystery a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh man. 2019, I went to Vegas, and I went to a like a Tijuana kind of restaurant, food joint, and it was, Mexican people or people that were clearly of Mexican descent, and you know, whatever. I do feel like part Mexican. I am part Mexican, so like I am like I'm going to speak in Spanish. Why not speak in Spanish? And I ordered like they only had like basically one main dish, like one ingredient in all their food, and it was called like it's like BIRRIA. And sometimes I do have troubles with the double R in some words, but like as soon as I saw the menu, I'm like, I'm like, I have no practice saying this word. I'm in trouble,
Oh
and
my God.
I'm like, oh,
So
give me
funny.
two of birria, and
Uh-huh.
he's like, then he's just like, he told me, my Spanish was like way better than his English, but he tells me, I didn't understand you nothing. I'm like,
Oh my God. No te entendí nada.
exactly.
That's so humbling. Oh my God.
To give you the idea, you know, people that don't understand that. That's like a the translation of I don't
That's so
understand
funny.
you like at all, right? And
That is
like I
hilarious.
was so mad that like when I get super mad, I just don't say anything, because if I speak, then it's gonna be terrible.
Oh my
So
God.
I was
If
so
you're
mad
gonna
I
do it
didn't
at a
say.
restaurant, you gotta be confident because they're gonna be like Monday, and then it's like, oh, I'm over. It's
Yeah,
over.
it's done. It's
Oh my
done.
God.
It's like you roll up, you think, "Oh, speak Spanish. I'll check this out."
Yeah, and then you gotta tip like 40% because you like ruined their day with your terrible language skills. It's like crap.
And
But
Like I was so mad. Like the guy like even charged me like $2 more than what the cost was, and I was so mad that I didn't even say anything. I just paid and left.
Oh man, out of embarrassment. No, I get
Uh,
that. It's a humbling experience, but you seem to kind of come back strong.
exactly. So speaking of um, Mexican Spanish, I wanted to do something a little different to end things.
Sure.
So I'm going to quiz you on your Mexican Spanish.
Okay, let's see. I always learn new stuff, so let's
Mm,
go. Just like gotta take a swig of this pop first,
yeah.
or I ruin this girl's evening.
She's claiming all this Mexican Spanish stuff.
Oh
I
my
gotta put
God.
her to the test.
Go ahead,
All
humble
right,
me.
I'm gonna just like I'm either gonna say like a word or like a concept, and you have to tell me the word. All
Got
right.
it. In English?
Well, okay. Okay. All right. So I'll give you a super easy one. Of course, like the classic Mexican slang, like the word everyone must know um, is no mames. But
Okay.
what is like no mames light?
Yeah, there's a lot of translations for that in English. So if it was gonna be like no mames, it's like, oh, you're kidding, or like you're being ridiculous right now, or
But
oh,
there's like a no mames light in
light. Oh,
Spanish.
no manches.
Ah, okay.
Okay. I thought you were asking me to explain
No. Okay.
it. Or if you're talking
I'm
about
starting
Puerto
off with
Rico,
some
no
easy stuff.
manchen.
Okay. So if like some situation happens or it's like a difficult situation, you can say está cabrón. When
Mm-hmm.
you but what's the light version of está cabrón?
Está cabrón. Está cañón.
Oh, nice,
Oh
nice.
my gosh.
Ooh,
Sorry, okay.
nice, coming through. All right,
Mhm.
coming
Yeah, it's like
through.
it's almost like it doesn't sound like that because if you said the light version, I'm like,
Yeah,
okay.
nice. Because the first one I knew you were going to get, but I was honestly
It's
really
very
curious.
chilango. That one's really chilango too, I think so.
Uh, this is the Spanish that I know, my dear. It's the Spanish that I know. All right. So when someone says aguas, what does this mean?
Like, watch out.
Yeah.
Come
Okay.
on. Give me some hard stuff.
All right. Okay. Mm.
There's an interesting history behind that one, by the way. I don't know if you want to take a quick minute to explain it. Or wait, you do know it.
Um, yeah, I do know it. So what it means is waters, aguas. But why don't you explain it? Maybe let's see if our
Um,
stories coincide.
I'm pretty sure it was like back in the olden times when, people didn't have indoor plumbing systems. They would literally like throw out the waste from the windows. So they're like, here comes aguas. So then it's like, if you're walking down, you don't want to get, all of that dumped upon you. So that was like your warning, I guess, before you got day ruined.
It's just like run
Yeah,
away.
yeah, maybe like a half a second warning. So
You have to get your reflexes right.
yeah.
Okay, what about this one? Like hitiarse.
Retirarse. How do you write that?
Geatarse.
Geata. No, I don't think I've ever heard that. Or
Yeah,
maybe I have.
it's kind of like um to sleep, because heta is like, you know, the face.
Interesting.
Uh-huh.
Wait. Oh wow, I never heard that one. You're gonna have to write it to me afterwards.
All right. I
My
will.
evaluation. Interesting.
All
Sleep. So
right.
wait, give me an example of how you would use that.
It's like, oh, okay. For example, you could say like, me quedé jetón. You know, it's like, and instead of
Ah,
saying me quedé dormido, you can say me quedé jetón. Mm-hmm.
Jetona.
Uh-huh.
Interesting. Wow, okay. I will write that one down.
There you go. All right. What does pelarse mean?
Pelarse. Oh gosh, in English, that's a weird translate. Give me like an example, like a context.
Ese güey no me pela.
Like,
I'm speaking from a girl. I'm not. I mean, I did a girl thing there. You know.
yeah, no, I got you. It's like no me
But
pela. I don't know. It could be like he's not paying attention to me, or like he doesn't like me, or I don't like him, or something like that.
yeah, it's
I
like
don't
he
know.
doesn't like pay attention to me. Like I want some kind of like attention, but he's just like off in his own world. He doesn't even really worry
Yeah,
about me. He likes
yeah, yeah. He
he
doesn't peel me. He's like, "What are you, a banana?" Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, no,
uh,
no, because I would be responding to my friends on Instagram, but they'd be like, "Pero ya no me pelas por WhatsApp, ¿qué onda?" Like, I'm
exactly,
sorry.
exactly. Me dejas en visto.
Yeah, literally. It's like, ya te pelo.
All right. Maybe this is an easy one, but like I'm saying, I need to go through all of the levels of difficulty.
Gotcha.
Chamba.
That's work.
Okay.
I'm not sure where it comes from. I'm pretty sure it's Nahuatl. But they also have the verb chambear.
Chambear. I also had this written down, so
Chambeando.
that was going to be like my alternative if you didn't know that one. Like you could also say
Chambear.
chambear.
Chambear hasta
All
la noche.
right. When something is chafa, what is that?
Cheap ass shit. This is broken. And it's funny because that one doesn't exist in the masculine. It's like even like masculine nouns are like chafa.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering where that one comes from.
And what is like a very common way to say money? There's a couple options.
Lana?
Okay, but there's one that's even more like
Oh gosh.
chilango.
Oh gosh, yeah. I don't even know. It's like I feel like it's right on the tip of my tongue and I feel so stupid when you say it. I would just say, gosh, yeah, what is it?
Okay, it's baro,
Oh, bottle. Okay, yeah.
V-A-R-O. You know
That's
that
like
one?
I always translated that in my head as like bucks. So like
Oh.
50 baros. Yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
something like that. Yeah, I have this sticker on WhatsApp. It's just like this sad dog with an empty wallet. It's like no hay baro. So I always remember that because of it. Yeah,
All
okay, I
right.
knew that one, but I just never use it, I feel like.
Okay. When someone's like doesn't give you a good vibe because they're not cool, or they're mean, or there's just some
Uh,
kind of way. What are some
makes it
ways that
mala,
you can use to describe them?
makes it mala onda, of course.
Okay, mala
Like,
onda.
hey, gosh, I feel like now they're all escaping my head and I read them all day, but they're just
Okay,
like,
but what if someone is like let's say like a real dick or a real biatch? Like what's like a real
wow.
kind of higher end word to describe that?
I don't know, higher end, God. I feel so pressured. No, dude, I would just
Welcome to
say like,
my
I don't know, like the poca madre or something like that. You could say like,
Okay.
que
This
poca
is
madre.
one. I was thinking yeah, you could say it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um culero, you know that one?
Culero, yeah, 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 yeah. Just feel like it's way, like literally assy.
All right. This one I think you know it's no, I think you've written that on Twitter. Metiche?
Metiche, like nosy.
Uh-huh. No seas
Anda de
metiche.
mechite.
All
Love that.
right. What's like a very Mexican way to say song? Like, oh, I love this song.
Rola.
Rola. Oh, yeah.
I just used that one today. I posted a song with Soda Stereo and I was like, Rolona del Dia.
Oh,
That's a good one.
great group. Which song was it?
Gosh, I forget. God, it's really not the Rolona del Dia if I forgot about it. It's just like, it has like a long title, but it was not Nada Personal because I listened to that one all the time. Just for if anybody's curious. En la ciudad de la furia.
Oh, I love that one. Oh
That's
my
good.
God. You don't even know. You don't even know how much I love that one.
A good one right there. Gosh, I feel like I've done pretty good on this test. Is there more?
You've done. Let me see what I've got in the long list. All right, all right. Okay, bronca. What's bronca?
Is it like no hay bronca? It's like
Uh-huh.
no hay pedo, like no problem.
Yeah,
Good
exactly.
show, we're good.
All right. And what do they call A 40. What's a 40?
That's a freaking caguama. I learned
And
that one from Itu Mama también. That movie,
uh,
they were like always talking about drinking and stuff.
awesome movie.
It's funny when you bring up these little slangs because I remember exactly where I learned like all of them. It's always like
Okay.
some particular TikTok or some movie or something.
So I'm gonna finish up with a classic one, and this is what you make me feel due to your performance. What is
Wait.
that?
Oh, wait. Explain it again. How I feel. Like,
It's like hell yeah.
God damn. A huevo.
A huevo.
Okay, I was
A
like,
huevo.
dude, that's too obvious. A huevo. Qué
Felicidades.
bueno. Gracias.
All
Gosh,
right.
my heart's like pounding right now. It's like, oh, I
You
talk all this,
survived the Mark's Mexican slang test with
especially with the
flying colors, I
chilango
must say.
stuff. Yeah, thank you. With the chilango stuff mixed into, I'm just like, it's been a minute. Let's see. Gosh. But thank you.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on. I really have enjoyed talking to you,
Yeah,
and
super fun. And this is actually our first time meeting for people that do not know.
it is. All right. Do you want to leave the good
Yeah.
people of the language come up? Or
Like,
language come up, because it's not the language come up, it's language come up. It was originally supposed to be, but I lost that password and I lost
for the etymology.
yeah.
Leave a message. Yeah, man, I don't know. I could say like some super motivational stuff, but I think just everyone have a nice week and a nice journey, and don't be too hard on yourself. I guess that's the most genuine stuff I can say right now.
Perfect.
Living in hard times.
It's been a pleasure, and we'll see
Equally.
you on Twitter.
Sorry, igualmente. It's been a great time. See you around. Bye.
All right, bye.